What's good? It's Fevir. With the Skyrim Special Edition being released, there is a lot more interest in both Skyrim and the Skyrim modding scene, and as someone who has followed it all this time for nearly 5 years now, I figured I'd compile a list of the current best combat mods for Skyrim. Now, all of these mods play nice with each other, but on a more personal note, they are the ones that I use in my own load order. To start this list off, we have Mortal Enemies, and what this mod does is greatly lowers the amount a player or an NPC can rotate during an attack. And if you've ever tried to dodge an attack, you know that you usually can only move backwards and hope to get out of range of it, because moving left or right does nothing, since enemies will in essence track your movement one for one. They can't do this with this mod, and on top of that, for yourself, when you attack, especially power attacks, you are kind of locked into the direction and the animation of that attack, meaning you can't just flail wildly and you can attack incorrectly. This mod is meant to work with TK dodge, which gives you the ability to quickly dodge in any direction, similar to dodge rolls or side steps of other games, and this in combination with enemies being locked in attack animations lets you have this active dodge system that rewards good play. It also is a huge quality of life mod when it comes to ranged attacks that sometimes feel like they can't miss. Next, I'll mention dual wield parrying, which aside from its namesake, allowing you to block while dual wielding, it also allows you to block when you have a sword and a spell equipped. It just is build enabling, and people gripe over balance concerns with the mod sometimes, but you change difficulty so much when you're modding anyways. We'll talk about another method to block incoming damage, weapon parry standalone. So first, we're going to enter the MCM and turn off everything but weapon parrying, and this will make it so that the only thing that this mod is giving us is that if we attack at the same time as an enemy attacks and our weapons hit, they'll kind of clink and clash off of each other, and it'll negate the damage and kind of push both of us back. In a practical sense, it just gives more emphasis to proper attack timing and a high risk, high reward method of blocking damage that makes sense. Equipment HUD isn't quite a combat mod, but has a huge impact during combat. What it allows you to do is assign up to 9 weapons, 9 spells, and 9 shouts to 3 different lists that you can then cycle through on the fly while playing. This will effectively remove a lot of the reasons combat is paused, whether that's into the normal menu systems or the favorite menus, because you can swap between so much so easily. It consolidates close to 30 keybinds to 3 keys, and I found that it made me use skills I wouldn't enter into my menu to cast much more frequently because of the ease to get at it, like say Sense Life or Clairvoyance. Now this next mod is the Heavy Lifter, Wildcat, and this is essentially the rebalancer mod. It plays with the numbers, damage done, damage taken, conditional damage bonuses or penalties like if you get hit while you're casting a spell or you attack an enemy's backside, and I've talked about this mod in more detail in a different video, but it intuitively makes Skyrim more deadly, and while being lightweight and stable has all of the mainstays from other combat overhauls like things like timed blocking or attacks costing stamina. On top of this, it has a good suite of combat behaviors or enemy AI, although I will add that for dragon AI I do use ultimate dragons, but for everything else it's all Wildcat. Wildcat also comes with a light injury system, and this and everything else is tweakable, but it all plays good out of the box. In fact, that is what makes Wildcat great, is that without configuration, the settings are great. You can cobble similar effects from, say, Combat Evolved and Vigor and Skytweak if you really went for it, but Wildcat is easy and doesn't require much configuration to give you a great experience. Speaking of Skytweak, this is the last mod mentioned. This should be in almost every mod list because of how much control it gives you over so much, and we're not going to go over complete configuration profiles, but for our purposes, we're going to make a few tweaks that outright replace the need to download other mods. First, we're going to lower melee weapon range. In vanilla, you have this buffer on every attack that is silly. I go down to about 120 units. Next, we'll turn off auto-aim completely. That's kind of self-explanatory. I also removed the ability for NPCs to ninja dodge. That is when they erratically just move left and right if you throw an arrow or a spell at them, as well as making sure that NPCs use ammo when they fire their bows and crossbows. And the last tweak is going to be slowing melee weapon speed by by about 10 to 15%, and this really ties everything together. It's not enough that you're going to notice it and it's going to feel slow, but it's going to make everything else feel so much more responsive, because that additional time in the animation is going to stress the penalty or the commitment when you make an attack. It's going to give you slightly more time to dodge attacks. It's going to give you more time to parry a weapons attack with your own weapon attack, and it just puts more emphasis on every individual action. And this one tweak just makes everything feel better and actually more fluid, and you'd think it wouldn't. You'd think it would make everything feel more sluggish, but Wildcat speeds up combat, but everything else makes combat more deliberate. It just works. And this isn't quite a mod, but archery and spellcasting, the mechanics, they just kind of work just out the box. What I would recommend though is turning off the reticule, the targeting reticule, so that you're sort of attacking and firing spells blind. That is enough to just make that experience much better. And that's it. That is probably, for me, the best way that I can improve Skyrim's combat. Like last year, I'm going to try and go through my mod list before I abandon it for the Special Edition of Skyrim. So until next time, guys, this is Fevir. Peace. Also, while I have you guys here, I do have a secondary Skyrim mod channel that I'm going to start updating a little bit more frequently with the release of the Skyrim Special Edition. Hopefully I can motivate myself to do it so that this channel doesn't get sort of bogged down with Skyrim stuff. So if you do like Skyrim, if you do like Skyrim modding, go ahead and click the link in the description or on screen and go sub there. And for real this time, take it easy.